The cars are lining up, are ready to go out for race 2 here at Oulton Park. Hobson on pole position because of the reverse grid, but we've just had a downpour. Now that's really going to shake things up as guys get used to weather conditions, what the track's like. Track temperature will have changed as well. Richard is going to talk us through what promises to be a really exciting and dramatic race.
Lloyd, it's going to be a cracker, isn't it? Pole position to Daniel Hobson from Aaron Sharp, then Lewis Rose on row 2 with David Vincent, Jason Ballantyne and Paul Bancroft on row 3. Row 4, David Buki and Daniel Reason from Rob Baker and Mark Grice, then Andy Hart and Ben Sharp on row 6. Row 7, Will Beach and Martin DL, followed by James Griffith and Matt Higginson. Matthew Darlington is next up from Oliver Barsby and Mark Hughes, Bruce Winfield and Matt Bolton from Chris Coomer and Simon Wallace. Mark Gibbons is next, the grid completed by David Poyser, Craig Carter, Paul McHugh, Paul Taylor and Andrew Gaugler. Andy Gaugler, of course, looking to get a finish in this one on his return to the championship. Race winner previously here at Oulton Park, as we mentioned a couple of times in race 1. Pole position, though, the blue and yellow of Daniel Hobson. Next to him, as we look in vision, is Lewis Rose in the gunmetal silver grey car. Call it what you will. Great start, though, from Aaron Sharp on the front row of the grid, the outside. Aaron Sharp it is that leads. A wide line from David Vincent. He's trying to convert the 4th place start. I think he's got up into 3rd. Ben Sharp having drama again, running a little bit wide. Rejoins the track. Going through on the inside line is David Buki. So Ben Sharp starting 12th. Not a bad start from Sharp. Bear in mind it's wet and they're all perhaps a little bit more tentative coming down Denton's and into Cascades for the first time in the wet, and not the shenanigans we saw in race number 1. Dan Reason, podium finisher in race number 1, looking to grab a 3rd podium of the year. It was an interesting chat that we had with him, wasn't it, after race 1, saying that top 5s, really consistency needs to be the key to the championship. Daniel Reason, by my maths, goes up into 4th place in the championship now. He's on 78 points. Rob Baker on 104, Jason Ballantyne on 83 drops to 3rd, Mark Grice now 2nd on 88 points. So all to play for here. Oliver Barsby losing out a tad there in the number 10, and they head out of the Britain's chicane up over Hilltop. The leader's already there and dealing with the chicane once again. There in 34 is Mark Grice with a heck of a lot of work to do. Tail happy, of course, coming out of the chicane. That was Ben Sharp who gets the power down as they go up Clay Hill. And what we might start to see here, you can see the shadows, the sun's out, and it means we might start to get a drying line, which is going to make things even more difficult for overtaking. Not impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but this, remember, partially reverse grid. The top 10 get switched around for the start of this one. So Daniel Hobson, who started on pole position here, that means he finished 10th in race number 1. You can see little bits of the track drying out. There was an inside line there from David Vincent. Down behind him was Daniel Reason, but getting away with this at the moment is Aaron Sharp. Lewis Rose in 2nd place. So Lewis Rose has had a decent start, and Dan Reason making good progress here. Reason passes David Vincent, who started 4th on the grid. Reason started back on row 4 and is perhaps the man on the mission to score the most points and maybe climb the most positions in the championship here. Reason, I guess, could maybe knock on the door of 3rd place on the championship if he gets a decent point score here. And we'll see. Look at the concentration in the mirror. Quick look in the mirror from Daniel to see who's coming. And this is fine racing. This is a particularly tricky corner at the end of Lakeside, and then they go up into the hairpin, which should, I was going to say in the wet, the hairpin can offer a couple of different lines, but it's not as wet there by the look of it. So you can explore the outside line if it's wet, but maybe not wet enough here. As we watch Mark Grice trying to, in the 34 car, trying to make up positions as well. Ben Sharp immediately behind, still carrying that Oulton Park pace that he had in qualifying, Ben Sharp, but a little way back as we watch these guys. Every place picked off in the reverse grid race is a big, big bonus. Grice at the moment chasing David Vincent in the 75. David, 1 podium to his credit so far this year. 2 retirements, sadly, for David Vincent, so really needs to crack on and get some race finishes under his belt. You can see under the trees how it's not drying out there particularly well, as you would expect. Jason Ballantyne, second in the championship coming into the meeting, and I think now down to third. Mark Grice now on 88, Ballantyne on 83, and they're a little bit away from Rob Baker at the moment, on board with Andy Gaugler, who's picked off a few cars from the back of the grid. So a happier race for Andy Gaugler here than he had in race number 1, and a good view of a battle going on side by side, which seems to continue corner after corner. Andy Gaugler's going to have a look down the inside line, goes through. I think that was Bruce Winfield that he managed to pass there, white 37 car. So Gaugler makes up a position on Bruce, who will be looking to make progress as well, and you can see Andy Gaugler being challenged as well here on the inside line by Paul Taylor, who goes through, and Gaugler runs a little bit wide and misses out there. So the 195 car, Paul Taylor, going through. Paul looking to grab a position in the top 20 of the championship. His finishes so far this year have been 26th, 20th, 21st. It was a non-finish, a late non-finisher in race number 1. So looking to get back on terms as Ben Sharp continues to nibble away at Mark Grice. Grice with a little bit of a gap at the moment. David Vincent up ahead of them. This on the drier part of the circuit, and it is dry, so it's going to allow some passing here. Getting under pressure there is Lewis Rose. So Lewis Rose has dropped back from the front positions, having started third on the grid, and has lost out just a little bit. Then it's Ben Sharp in the 24 car running well too, and they climb up Clay Hill once again into Druids. So the race settling down nicely championship wise. 32 points scorers so far this season. Mightily impressive number of drivers having taken part and still turning up to race in our first season with the British Racing and Sports Car Club. Jason Ballantyne goes through shot. Ballantyne up ahead of Daniel Hobson. Hobson, one of many race winners this year, has had 2 top 5s, so not far away from that at the moment. Aaron Sharp still the race leader though, and we've got a battle on for second position here, side by side for second place, going down into Old Hall Corner. Making progress there is Ben Sharp. So Sharp now up ahead of Mark Grice, who goes auto-grassing back to the old days. A massive bump there. If you go off, look, the car's still unsettled, but Grice knows all about car control, picks it back up and gets it pointing back in the right direction. But Ben Sharp on for a decent score here. Remember, Ben started 12th on the grid, not part of the reverse section, but has got himself up into the top 10 and he's running well. There in car number 4 is Martin DL, who's running well. Matt Higginson in the red 44, busy chasing him as well. Higginson, another driver who started outside the top 10, so has made some decent progress in this race, and that is absolutely key. Of course, you are helped a little bit if you finish in 9th, 10th position, and that will help you starting off the front though. Back with 35, Aaron Sharp, the race leader, goes out of shot. Jason Ballantyne in second place, remember, third in the championship standings. This is going to put him back in it, and generally the top scorers in the championship tend to lose points in race 2 because they start a little bit further back maybe. Martin DL in the mix as well. The question we're asking though is, can Jason Ballantyne close in and be the first man to grab a second win of the racing season this year? Who's going to be the first man to score a double? There's Lewis Rose ahead of David Vincent. So the top 10 all fairly close, but Aaron Sharp getting his head down, the race leader. So Ballantyne still there at the moment. Martin DL running well and in a potential podium position at the moment in car number 4. That's going to be his first podium of the year if he can take that. DL had one podium last year at Donington Park in October, Last year's championship, of course, won by Lee Deegan from Mark Grice, Daniel Reason and Jason Ballantyne. So we've got a lot of the top drivers still with us. Another car slides off, nudges the barrier. So an end to Mark Gibbons there. Is that going to be a retirement? If so, it's going to be his second retirement of the year. Retired at Silverstone in race 2. The answer is no. He's got it fired up, but he's going to be a little way down the order. On board with Daniel Reason once again, who is working hard here, and Daniel Reason about to pop in a move. He's going to look on the outside line here, challenging Daniel Hobson to try and go through and edge his way up towards a potential podium finish here, if he can do it. That's going to be good. Mark Grice a little bit further back, has recovered from his bouncy moment, and then down behind Mark Grice we've got David Buki in the 51 car. So Buki still again scoring good points here after 4th place in race number 1. Buki in 7th position in this one. We've got a little bit of a queue forming up now for 2nd position. DL in the mix as well there, and chasing hard on board with Ben Sharp, and DL goes through. Good move by Martin. DL nips through on the inside of Ben Sharp. 12th position finish in race number 1. I think it's going to be better than that here in race 2. And Sharp, whose results, if you look at his result sequence, 22nd race 1 of the year, 5th place in race 2 at Silverstone, 22nd on Anglesey round 3, retirement in round number 4. But look at this now, super battle going on for 2nd place. Jason Ballantyne there at the moment. Daniel Hobson piling the pressure on. Hobson wants to get a 2nd win of the season as well. So Hobson and Reason really the drivers perhaps in with the best shout of taking the first double of the year. Not a double win here, but doubling up their score of race wins, as it were, for the 2016 campaign. But very fraught here for 2nd position. The race leader, Aaron Sharp, is away and down the road and looking fairly comfortable with things at the moment. But it's Jason Ballantyne still there. David Vincent still in the mix as well in that 75 car, and they go along Lakeside, and Ballantyne looking clear at the moment in 2nd place. Daniel Reason in 3rd has clawed his way through to a podium. Ballantyne, remember, 6th in race 1, Reason 3rd, so Reason is going to be the best point scorer as things stand at the moment, but we've still got track time to go. Reason all over the back of Ballantyne, and remember that is potentially a challenge for 3rd place in the championship as well going on. 2nd position in the race, battle for 3rd in the championship as well. Those two very close indeed. Martin DL looking to try and close up the orders. Aaron Sharp comes down from Hilltop into Hislops, still there. Reason all over the back of the 2nd place man at the moment. Ben Sharp still busy chasing DL, and grasses it there. He's going to, no place is gained for him, so no advantage. Matt Higginson is right behind him as well, so Sharp's had an interesting weekend. A little bit of bodywork or something awry off of the wheel of the 44 car of Matt Higginson as well. Higginson goes through. Ultimately, Ben Sharp losing a little bit of ground. This is the battle for 2nd though, and 3rd in the championship. Daniel Reason chasing hard, trying to find a way past. He's got to be mindful of what's going on in his mirrors as well. The man from Whitehaven in Cumbria chasing hard and through. 75 David Vincent is there as well. We've got Martin DL queuing up too. This is super racing. Daniel Hobson coming under a bit of pressure as well. Race leader through and still away down the road. Jason Ballantyne in 2nd place at the moment, and for the moment gamely holding off Daniel Reason. Mark Hughes goes through as well. You can see the dry line, you can see the wet part of the circuit on the inside, on the exit of Old Hall Corner as they head down into Dentons and Cascades. And it is very tricky offline there, so you've got to be careful where you pick your move. You've got to try and remember where the water or dampness is on the circuit. And Jason Ballantyne and Daniel Reason doing that at the moment ahead of this group. Side by side there, and Higginson still holding on. Sharp looks round the outside line. You can see loses momentum there, so there isn't perhaps a line on the outside of the hairpin. He went for the cut back on the inside there, but didn't quite work for him. He did close in a little bit as they exited that. Short run down into Britain's. which they take fairly neatly, and at the moment it looks like Higginson has just got the better of his chaser as the pack dicing over the podium positions come down the hill once again. And even though the conditions slightly slower, as off the track goes Paul Taylor, and that's beach, that's it, isn't it? Game over for Paul Taylor in 1:9.5, and that's going to be, I think, second retirement, isn't it? Yes, we were talking about his retirement earlier on. Unless he can get martially assisted out, he might make it back round into pit lane, but a second retirement for him, as this is a game of chess between these guys, fighting out for second place. And it's still Ballantyne there at the moment, on board with Daniel Reason. Race leader in the distance is Aaron Sharp. Now what could Daniel Reason do? Takes a decent line there, out of Lodge Corner, gets close, through Dearly, climb up the other side now, and it's got a lot of momentum. Was that a misgear or something from Jason Ballantyne, who loses out? Daniel Reason goes through with 1 lap to do. What timing that was for Reason, who not only looks like getting a podium but a second position. Martin Diel coming through as well past Matt Higginson. Ben Sharp's in the mix too. Double wave jellos, I think that's for the car in the gravel. So Daniel Reason has come through into second place. Wild moment there for David Vincent, who doesn't look happy. A little bit of smoke out the back, and I think he's dropping back. The 2 blue and yellow cars go through. Oh, sad news for David Vincent. Impressive fight up to that point. Ben Sharp is going to have a nibble again at Matt Higginson. Oh, it goes on the grass. Now, if the grass is wet, is he going to wind up in the barrier? The barrier was looming. He managed to turn, but he's lost a load of places there. Ben Sharp, he was right up at the sharp end, if you'll pardon the pun, but now drops back. And he has got right behind him the 51 car of David Buki, and then Rob Baker in car number 6. So he's lost a few places, but damage limitation not too bad. Meanwhile, Aaron Sharp, the race leader. Daniel Reason second. Jason Ballantyne third. Martin DL now in car number 4 is up into 4th place and on for his best finish of the year. The fastest lap of the race with the 37 white car we saw involved in the battle earlier on with Andy Gaugler. That's Bruce Winfield with the fastest lap on the last lap, the penultimate lap of the race. But here is Aaron Sharp, who's got a lead of 2.5 seconds here at Oulton Park, and he's going to, barring any problems, become the 6th winner in 6 different races. Now, for sure, we have the reverse grids, but in many other championships, I'm sure we'd have had people racking up double wins thus far. We're going to have to wait till the Snetterton 300 circuit to see if we get a second winner of the year, as Aaron Sharp takes the checkered flag. Sharp wins in impressive fashion, I've got to say. Daniel Reason second, Jason Ballantyne third, Martin DL closing down on him, then it's Matt Higginson, Daniel Hobson next up, David Buki comes through for 7th place, then Rob Baker, Ben Sharp in 9th place, the top 10 rounded off by Mark Grice. Super race here at Oulton Park, round 6 of the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup. There's confirmation of the top 10 which I gave you as they crossed the line. Bruce Winfield indeed confirmed as the man who set the fastest lap of the race. So who was outside the top 10? James Griffith and Bruce Winfield from Lewis Rose and Andy Hart. Simon Wallace 15th from Mark Hughes and Chris Coomer. Mark Gibbons and Will Beach from Andy Gaugler in 20th. Then Matthew Darlington, Oliver Barsby, Paul McHugh, David Poyser and Craig Carter in 25th.
Aaron, congratulations on your victory. Tough battle out there, particularly with the changing weather.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Managed to get a good start, got away from the lights, pulled a gap early on, which was the plan really. Knew we had the quicker lads behind. Had a bit of a moment, I think a few laps in at Druids and nearly spun it, where Lewis managed to close a gap on me, but then managed to gap him again and got away, got my head down and was just waiting for the last lap board and the checkered flag really. Just counting it down every lap.
Well, brilliant race strategy. Congratulations on your victory.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'd just like to say thanks to all the sponsors, especially my dad as well and brother. All the hard work we've done over the last few weeks, worth it now. And everyone that's come today to watch and help us on the day.
Brilliant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dan, a second podium today, and that didn't really look on the cards earlier on.
No, it didn't. I think we prayed for the rain, and it actually came, which definitely helped us. It's our strongest scoring weekend, getting 2 podiums, so I'm over the moon, really am.
And that helps you out in the championship, doesn't it?
Yeah, with Rob and Mark Rice scoring quite low, it's definitely blew the championship wide open, so it was a good one to get a lot of points in.
Well, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you next time out.
Thank you.
Jason, congratulations on 3rd place, and that was a really tough race, especially given the change in weather conditions beforehand.
Yeah. First of all, before we carry on, can I just say I'd like to thank everyone that's helped us get here, obviously family and friends and stuff like that. Can't do without them, but yeah, what an exciting race it was. The conditions, well, changed from the beginning to the end. Had a bit of a knock on the first corner and knocked the tracking out a little bit, and then had a good battle with Danny, and then Daniel obviously come up behind us and just made things really, really hard for the rest of the race.
And coming into the weekend, you were 2nd in the championship. This is obviously, a few extra points. It's all going to help as the year goes on.
Yeah, the extra points just claw away at the championship. They all help. Points make prizes, as I say.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you next time out. Congratulations once again.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Well, that brings to an end the action here at Oulton Park in the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup. 6 winners from 6 races this season. Just goes to prove how close and exciting the racing is. We hope you can join us next time where the action comes from Snetterton.